Hello and welcome to a new episode of Convert on Shopify. My name is Pancho Mendiola, and today we're going to be talking about the main benefits, we're going to talk about five main benefits of A/B testing. In the last episode we talked about is A/B testing a good fit for me? We gave some ranges according of mainly on your traffic, the amount of traffic that your site is already getting. So in this one, I want to talk about what are the perks. We already talked about what should you do, what's in it for me. This episode it's about what's in it for me. We as merchants, we obviously are always asking that question for every, especially for entrepreneurs and startups. We need to make sure that every action we take, every resource we use within our new companies or organizations or stores has returning in our investment, right? So A/B testing is not excluded from this. A/B testing, it has a lot of benefits, and as we said in previous episodes, it does take some work. Okay, you need to use certain applications, certain apps, or certain softwares to actually do it right. You need to invest some time. We're gonna actually, in the next episodes, we're gonna be talking about now some examples on how to do it. Right now it has all been a lot of theory. We're gonna start getting slowly into more details and examples on A/B testing. But anyways, I understand that this is an action that takes some time to actually do it. But believe me, it has some benefits. And today we're going to talk about some of them. So the first one, that the first main benefit that we have when doing A/B testing is that we can improve our content engagement. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. A/B testing is not something that you can only do in a website, in a product page, in a landing page. We have maybe this false understanding on how A/B testing actually works. We can do A/B testing in a lot of stuff. In this case, we're talking about A/B testing for content for pay-per-click campaigns, right? So let's say that we want to launch a campaign. Let's say in sorry, I can't get used to saying Meta. In Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. And we have, in order to push this campaign, we are creating artwork, right? So we have to post something in order to create advertising. So in this post, we have certain elements that we need to include in this post. For example, we need images. Obviously, we all know that social media, especially stuff that gets pushed into Instagram, it's all about photos, images, videos, not only about texts and copy. So we have that. Okay. We also have background colors. We have texts or copywriting within the post, but also what we call copy in and copy out, which is when we create a post, the copy in is the description of what we are actually posting, and the copy out includes a little bit of a call to action. So there's a lot of elements that go into creating a post for a pay-per-click campaign, right? So using A/B testing, we can understand or we can know which of the posts is having more impact. So it's not the same to just post one single image or test or whatever, than going out and posting different versions, changing a little bit of one of these elements in each post, and then getting results on what actually works best and has the most engagement. Once we figure out which one has the most engagement, well, this has two main benefits. One, we can increase our budget or our ad spend focusing on the posts that actually work best. But also, this is along the time, this is information that gives us some sensitivity on what our audience or target audience actually enjoys, actually gets them excited, gets them to take an action. Essentially, it can be a comment, a click on your more information button. There's a lot of ways to measure engagement when we're talking about pay-per-click campaigns. But anyways, A/B testing is a great way to kind of figure it out, what gets them going, and all of a sudden, after some time, your brand is, speaking directly how they like it in the format that they like. Maybe you'll realize that your audience likes more like still images with no text, just like like beautiful photos. Maybe you'll realize that they don't. Maybe they like a little bit more of graphics and stuff like that, a little more information and data. Or maybe they like one better than the other, and that doesn't mean that you can do both, but you know that the one that does better, you can invest a little more of your ad spend in that specific content. So in summary, A/B testing allows you to gradually become a better content creator. Okay, how? Well, by measuring your content engagement one against the other, and like choosing one against the other, or investing more budget against the other. A/B testing doesn't have to be super blunt. Okay, if this doesn't work, we get rid of it. Specifically when we're talking about content and content marketing, sometimes it only tells you, okay, this one is better. Let's increase our ad spend in that one. And that one, yeah, it kind of works. Maybe that the other post helps to to accompany the other post, and just having a bigger and broader picture for your target audience, maybe it works. So in this case, with pay-per-click campaigns, it doesn't have to be that blunt, but you will get a lot of valuable information, and this will get your content to become better along the way, right? So number two is that you can reduce your bounce rates. Okay, sometimes bounce rates, we kind of discussed this in previous episodes, but okay, first of all, bounce rate is when someone lands in your site, any landing page. It can be your home page, your product page, or a specific landing page that you have in one of your posts. And the bounce rate essentially is people spending very small amount of time in that page. So what does this tell you? If someone bounces, it can mean two things. Well, it can mean a lot of things, but mainly it can mean two things. One of them is that when they land, they don't have enough information to assess, okay, so what is this about? I don't understand. I don't know where to click. I don't know. I thought it was something different. Okay, so when they land, one of the problems that you have is that they can't find their way through your site, or you don't have enough or relevant information for that person in your site. The other reason because someone bounces is that maybe they weren't the target audience, or they thought from where they clicked on, they thought that it was something else. Let me give you an example. You post a beautiful picture of a couple in the beach, right? And they are wearing, these like really cool hats, and they have their swimming suits, super cool swimming suits, and some flip-flops, and they're just like hanging out on the beach. So a person sees this post, and maybe they think, okay, you sell swimsuits, or maybe they think they sell hats, or maybe they think they sell flip-flops, or maybe they think they sell trips to the beach. Okay, so they click. If you're not clear enough in your post with the image and your copy in and your copy out and the call to action, then they might click on it because they find it interesting, they find it beautiful, but then they realize that maybe it's not of the above, right? Maybe you're selling something else, and this picture is some like lifestyle example of something you sell. Maybe you sell towels or whatever. You sell waterproof iPhone cases or whatever, So the other reason that this person might bounce is because what they thought in the post in social media while they were just like scrolling around, then they land to your site and they realize that that's not what they're thinking, or they weren't looking for that. So A/B testing can also help you for this. You can, these are two main scenarios why people actually bounce, and in both cases with example number one, we talked about how to test with your content, how to test your target audience using A/B testing. But you can also use A/B testing in your actual landing page. So a landing page doesn't have to be a separate page from your online store. Your landing page can be the home page, it can be the product page. Essentially, it's the first page from within your site where a unique visitor lands for one session in particular. So this is where you can use A/B testing to see, okay, why are they bouncing? Maybe the call to action is not big enough. Maybe the color doesn't have enough contrast for them to see that it's an actual button. Maybe they just see it, as a design element and not an actual button. Maybe we need a catchier phrase, or maybe we need to arrange our site differently so the information goes from very general to very specific, or the other way around. Well, all of this stuff we can actually test it and then tweak our landing pages, and this will give us this benefit of reducing bounce rate. So at the end, what we want is, first of all, make sure that the audience that we're reaching out through social media or all of the pay-per-click campaigns, they understand what they are clicking into. Okay, that's one. And obviously that the target that we are reaching to is the target that could be a potential buyer in our store. Then when they land, we want to make sure that they have enough and relevant information so they can stick around and maybe do a little research. I'm not also saying that in that specific session they're going to buy something, but at least we give them enough information for them to stick around and maybe learn a little bit more about our brand, about what we do. We can catch them later with retargeting, okay? Or we can get them to give us an email, and we can catch them later with email marketing. But what we don't want is for them to just bounce off because they didn't have enough or relevant information for them. And this is something that we can use A/B testing for. Number 3 is increasing conversion rate. Okay, this is one of the main things that we already know. We already talked about, obviously, conversion rates. Okay, so conversion rate, first of all, it doesn't always mean a purchase. Okay, conversion rate can mean several things or several actions. Maybe you want to, one of your goals in this month or in this quarter is to grow your database, your email database, which I recommend, especially with the increase in pay-per-click budgets. It's getting crazy expensive now, so we need to focus on creating our own. We'll talk a little bit more about that. we can have this increase in conversion rates in several different actions within our customer journey. For example, maybe the goal of one landing page is just to get people to click on something. Okay, so we can see what they're interested into. Maybe we want them to search. Maybe we want them to give us their email address. And this can also be turned into a conversion rate. Obviously, the ultimate conversion rate is for the purchase, right? For them to getting to buy something. But this is where also A/B testing also helps us a lot. The ultimate goal is to convert user or a visitor into a buyer. I mean, that's what marketing is for, and that's what we do. But with A/B testing, we can see what they're clicking on, what they're not clicking on, which again, if we go outside to the pay-per-click campaigns, we can do essentially the same thing within our sites. So yeah, we can help improve or increase our conversion rate using A/B testing. Number 4 is revealing marketing strengths. So this is something that is very, very hard as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. Maybe you're the lead marketing in a startup or in a company, and it really sucks not to know how you're doing, right? It really sucks not to have any reference on what is actually working, where to move towards to. So in my let's give a more real world example. So let's say that we want to get to certain place and we walk through this thick jungle, and all we can see is maybe some rays of sunlight, like filtering through all the trees and the leaves, and in there's very small spots where we can actually know where we're at and where we're walking towards to. Okay, so sometimes marketing feels this way. We are just like moving forward, but we don't know if we're moving in circles. We don't know if we're going in one direction or the other. It's really hard to tell if we don't test stuff, right? And but imagine that we want to get from point A to point B through the same thick jungle, but there's beacons. Okay, there's references on where to walk towards to, for how long and in which direction. So that would be super helpful, right? And so this is what we want to do, again, with marketing. We want to make sure that we're going towards the right direction, and A/B testing is kind of a beacon. It tells us, okay, this is not working, or this path is a little straighter than the other one, or maybe the one that is not so straight. Talking about or making the analogy with a more complex funnel, maybe this path is longer, but it actually brings better results, because at the end, the conversion, when a user gets to the end of the conversion funnel, which is the checkout page, they already gathered enough information, and they already want the product that we're selling. And maybe the straight line, yeah, we move people faster through our funnel, but they don't have enough information, and ultimately they don't end up purchasing something. So this is the sort of stuff that we can learn with A/B testing. We can understand where our marketing strengths are. If our strength is maybe in having a little more education, taking some time to or giving some time to our users to actually digest the information that we have, what type of information we're giving them. Maybe our users are super geeky and nerdy, so we need to give them more elevated words or more specific words to their niche. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they want the information to be super digested and down to earth, and this is how we tweak. First, we have to understand if they actually have to learn something, or if they're missing information from our brand or from our product, and this is our job to give to them. Or if we just need to go straightforward, maybe doing a sale, maybe we just need a little push in certain areas in our site so they can actually move forward. Well, at the beginning, when we are in this dense forest and we don't have beacons or any sort of sign of where we're at or where we're going, these questions are very hard to answer. We basically just need to guess. Well, with A/B testing, we don't have to guess. We can actually test it, and this will increase the strength. We will realize where the strengths are, and we can focus our resources and our time as a brand in those marketing strengths. Last but not least, number 5, we can improve our customer experience. So this is a concept that a lot of people talk about. Customer experience, UX, UI, or everything has to be super intuitive. And for this, I want to give you a very, very simple example. What happens if you go to a site and you click on the main logo that is right at the top of the site? What happens? Everybody knows that if you click on the logo at the top of the site, you'll get to the homepage. So a lot of sites, they don't even have to include a home link in their menu, because I think for now everybody knows that if you click on the logo in any site that you are, you'll get to the homepage. Even in social media, if you click on something, you'll get to your feed or your main feed. In a lot of apps, it works the same. So basically, you'll get to the main site, right? Or main page in your site. This is Now it's intuitive, no? But at the beginning, we had to learn. We had to learn as users that every time we click on that, then we will get to that. We will get that result. Now it feels intuitive. We know what to do when when we see something like that. Well, that's how actually intuition works, and that's how customer experience works. So when we say that we want to make a site more intuitive for our customers, it's basically saying, okay, how do we arrange stuff? And for that stuff, I mean the actual architecture of our site. So where's the banner? How thick it is, or how wide it is? What do we add right beneath? What do we write on the actual banner? Do we have a button? Do we let them click on the whole banner? So there's a lot of questions again that we need to ask ourselves, and in order to get people to follow the path that we want them to follow. Okay, and that's customer experience. So if we all the time make it better, we test one way or the other. We are actually testing what is the most. Again, it doesn't have to be the shortest or the longest. It has to be the best path for a customer. Okay, so again, we don't need to say, you want the customer to just check out in 3 clicks. That's sort of more like a trend that was going on a couple of years ago. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Maybe that customer, that user, again, just discovered your brand and they need more information. So they're not going to click, they're not going to check out in 3 clicks. I'm sorry. We need to test that. We need to give them information, and we also need to change the UX, the user experience, and the user interface, which is the user interface is the actual architecture and what the people actually can click on, and the user experience is this path that they can follow. And A/B testing is a great tool to test that and lay out these different paths and see how customers interact and follow through our laid path and eventually get to the checkout page. So improving our customer experience, again, ultimately can get us to improving our conversion rate, right? So A/B testing is a great tool for this. And just as an added bonus, I know I said we were gonna cover 5, but this just came up to mind. We can also use A/B testing to test new stuff, okay? So maybe you want to showcase a new feature on your site. Well, you can use A/B testing to understand how it works, if this adds to the customer experience or not, and then eventually roll it out to all of the customers once this feature is updated, or once this feature is tested, I mean. So this can also work with new products. Okay, for example, with new products, you can tweak the title of the product, how the information is arranged. So maybe they want an elevator pitch in the first paragraph. Maybe they want the technical stuff all the way to the top because your audience here is super nerdy, super geek. Or if you're selling furniture, they need to know what the dimensions are to see if that product is going to fit in their house, and maybe this information is more relevant in this specific product, so you can move it up and see what works best. So when you are launching something, you can also use A/B testing to see what works best. You can test different photos, you can test colors, you can test copywriting, call to action buttons, and this means that before you throw all the money in your launch campaign, your pay-per-click campaigns, all this budget in your ad spend, before you actually do all that, you know that you have the best version so far, because you can still keep testing. You can have the best version so far of this site, and now you can just like throw a lot of traffic in, and you can get the best results so far. A/B testing is something that you constantly do. You can always get better. You can always improve, and that's a cool thing. And I think entrepreneurs, we enjoy that. We enjoy knowing that there's a path of growth always. So that's what really gets me excited about A/B testing. That there's always a path of improvement and optimization, and actually that's what A/B testing is all about. So I hope these 5 or well 6 benefits of A/B testing can also get you really excited to dig in. Remember that we have a lot more resources in Convert.com. You want to learn specific stuff, specific techniques about everything about A/B testing. There's a lot of articles, videos. We have a lot of information there. So Convert.com. Thank you very much and see you in the next one. Bye bye.